All right, let's tackle one of the most powerful and, let's be honest, one of the most feared features in programming, C-pointers. For a lot of folks, this is where they get stuck, but today we're going to make this stuff finally click.
And hey, if you've ever felt a little intimidated by pointers, you are definitely not alone. It's a topic that has a reputation for being complicated, for being dangerous, and for being a one-way ticket to some really confusing bugs and crashes.
But what if I told you that, with the right mental model, they're not scary at all? What if they're actually one of the most logical tools a programmer can have? Well, that's our goal right now, to give you that exact model and finally demystify pointers once and for all.
To really get there, we have to start at the very, very beginning, how a computer actually thinks about memory. Once you get this, I promise, everything else just kind of falls into place.
So I want you to forget about abstract things like bits and bytes for a minute. Instead, just picture a long, long street, and it's lined with houses. This whole street, that's your computer's memory. It's RAM. And every single piece of data your program uses, whether it's a number or a character, it has to live in one of these houses.
So, how do you find a specific house on that street? Well, you use its address, right? It works exactly the same way inside a computer. Every single one of those houses, every memory location, has its own unique address. It's just a number that tells the system exactly where to go to find something. This visualizes it perfectly. When you write code and you declare a variable, say, int a equals 10, what you're really doing is telling the system to set aside a house for it. So now that variable has a name, a, it has a value, which is the 10 that's stored inside the house, and it has a totally unique address on our memory street, something like ADF.
So with all that in mind, what on earth is a pointer? It's just a special kind of variable. It's different because it doesn't store a normal value, like 10 or the letter C. No. Its entire job, its only purpose, is to store the address of another variable. That's it. It's just a variable that holds a house number.
And this right here is the key distinction to lock in. The pointer itself, this thing we're calling PTR, it isn't the house with the number 10 inside of it. Nope. Instead, the pointer is like a separate little piece of paper where you've just written down the address, ADF. It points to the original variable simply by holding its location.
Now, to actually work with these things, you only need to get familiar with two key symbols. Think of the ampersand, and, as asking a question, hey, what is the address of this variable? So, and a will give you its house number. Then there's the asterisk, star, which gives a command. Go to the address this pointer is holding and get me the value that's inside. It basically lets you look inside the house.
Okay, so at this point you might be thinking, all right, I get the whole house metaphor, but so what? Why is this such a big deal? Well, because getting this isn't just a neat little trick, it's a programming superpower. It's fundamental to what makes a language like C so fast and so flexible.
Pointers just unlock this whole new level of control. They are the key, for example, to what's called dynamic memory allocation, which lets your program create space for new data while it's running. And crucially, they let one part of your code, like a function, reach out and directly change a variable that lives somewhere else entirely. This kind of efficiency is why they are the building blocks for just about everything, from simple arrays to really complex data structures like linked lists. But, and this is a big but, this is where we get to that famous warning, with great power comes great responsibility. The reason pointers have this scary reputation is because when they go wrong, they can go spectacularly wrong. So let's talk about the danger zone.
So here's the crucial thing to understand. The danger isn't really in the pointer itself. It's all about where it's pointing. If a pointer is holding a garbage address, or no address at all, it's basically a ticking time bomb. If you try to use that pointer to get a value, your program could crash, it could corrupt other data, or it could just start behaving in totally bizarre, unpredictable ways.
And you really need to know the difference between the two main types of bad pointers. First, you've got an uninitialized pointer. This is a pointer that you forgot to give a value to, so it holds some random garbage address, a total unknown. Trying to use it is pure chaos. But then you have a null pointer. This is totally different. This is when you intentionally set the pointer to point to nothing. It's a known, safe state. Now, trying to use it will still crash your program, but it'll do it predictably, which makes finding the bug so much easier. And that leads us to the single most important rule for using pointers safely, and it comes straight from our source material. If you declare a pointer, but you don't have a valid address to give it just yet, always initialize it to null. This one simple habit turns a potentially chaotic bug into one that's predictable and way more manageable. So, let's pull all of this together. Let's look at the big picture. In a world full of high-level, automated languages, why does any of this low-level memory stuff still matter?
Pointers are not some kind of arcane magic. They are simply the most direct way for a program to talk to the computer's memory. When you understand them, you understand what's actually happening under the hood of your computer. It gives you a level of transparency and control that's absolutely essential for writing high-performance code and for truly mastering that relationship between software and hardware.
Which leaves us with one final thought. You know, a lot of modern languages try to hide all this complexity from you. They handle the memory automatically. They're trading that raw power for safety. So the question for every programmer to think about is this. In a world that increasingly values abstraction and safety, is it still worth it to learn the raw power and the risk of speaking the language of the machine itself?